folks, this is going to be my last video for Gloomhaven, so I'm going to round things off with a video on player aids. Now there's all kinds of different player aids, things that are like physical components, things that are just documents that help you better understand the game, and anything that is just going to help your playing experience. So, these are my top 5 player aids for Gloomhaven. So as far as box organizers go, I think the standard in board gaming tends to be the Broken Token, which makes sense. Their stuff is excellent and it's functional, it works great, but I think for Gloomhaven, the Daedalus box organizer is the better choice, mainly for aesthetics. I think that the dark wood really matches the tone of Gloomhaven a lot better. I mean, and it's just beautiful. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Now, it does cost as much as an expensive game for just an organizer, but if this is a problem for you, like, bringing out the game does take a long time, and if that's, cutting into your gaming time and you feel like you need something like this, why not go all out? I think it's worth it. I mean, maybe it's not, but it's good. So another physical player aid that I found is this player board that I found on Etsy, and there are a couple things that I like about it. First is that it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, I don't know if it actually saves you space. It might take up more, but the sheer amount of sections that it has for all of your things, like the little rail on the top for your items, the little knobs to keep track of hit points and gold and experience and all of that, it's a little extra, and I kind of love it for that. But the other thing that I really like is that it's only $19 for this. I mean, yeah, you have to put it together yourself, but same with the Broken Token inserts, so that shouldn't be that big of a deal. And I always expect these things to be so much more expensive. So for $19, that seems like a pretty good deal to me. Okay, we're getting a little bit more esoteric now, because the next one that I have for you is a stamina guide. What this is actually kind of an essay that goes into how stamina plays into the longevity of your character. Now, if you're playing this game casually and enjoying it, you don't need this, but if you really want to get into the strategy of it, this offers a really great, especially visualization of how things like your rest and your card usage will impact how many turns you can possibly play in any given scenario. What I like about it is that the graphs that it shows are pretty easy to follow visually, so you can kind of just skim through it, get an idea of what each element brings to the table. A thing that I like about Fantasy Flight games recently is that they'll have 2 manuals. The first teaches you how to play the game, but the second is just a rules reference. So that when you're playing the game, you know how to play it, but you're trying to figure out that one thing. You can just look at the rules reference, say this thing about combat. Well, here's every single rule that has to do with combat. And Gloomhaven doesn't exactly have that. So, someone, I'm not exactly sure who, but thank you, whoever did it, made this rules reference. And it's just that. It's an exhaustive list. It's not meant to be read, front to back. But if you're looking for something specific, this is going to make it a lot easier. Alright, this last one might be my favorite, and that's because of how much table space it's going to save you. So, Gloomhaven Guild takes all of the monsters and puts it on one screen where you can keep track of all the damage, all the conditions. It also keeps track of the elements, and it shows you the monsters' action cards. And the best part is, you don't have to set that up. It just knows all the scenarios and what you're going to need for it. So if you just put this on an iPad, you're going to save about a quarter of your table that would otherwise be spent on all of these components. And those are my top 5 Gloomhaven player aids. If you've got a favorite player aid that you like that I didn't mention, leave it in the comments below. And that's it for Gloomhaven. Thank you so much to all my Patreon backers, the ones who voted on Gloomhaven to be the next game that I teach. The actual next game that I'm teaching is Spirit Island. And if you want to vote on what I'm teaching after that, consider backing me on Patreon. $3 and up backers get to vote on the polls, and pretty soon $5 and up backers are going to get to suggest games to be put onto the polls. So, if that's something that interests you, maybe come over and help me out. I don't know. You do you. Anyway, bye.